Bain Capital had their annual event where they had experts from all over the world come into town and talk about digital strategies and the importance of digital. And from all the way from Amazon to Walmart, I mean, they had the big guys there, right? And what those businesses concluded is that when they operate online and they operate in a four-wall, they have a physical location somewhere, they get an exponential growth in their business. But when they just do one or the other, they get less impact. Then they had the micro markets talking about trends in healthcare and small business and all those things. And Bain came out and said, if you're a small business in a community, they refer to that as a micro market. So macro market is global, right? It's the big market. Micro market is the local business that services the local residents of a community, right? And what they talked about are for those businesses that had excellent service deliverable, and they coupled that with being ever present in the marketplace digitally and made the purchasing decisions for people they serve easy because they could find them online, they could interact with them that way. Those businesses were exponentially growing. The businesses that were suffering were businesses that were conducting themselves the old-fashioned way. And when they broke down what that meant, they were talking about people that just have a website. You know, how many businesses do you know that have a website that haven't even been updated in 5 years? So if you want exponential growth, then you got to take advantage of all the different ways to communicate in your marketplace. And Grant talks about this, better known will always beat best. There's a lot of business owners that think because I'm the best, I'm going to own this market, and they don't. It sounds to me like what you do, or I know what you do, and this is why we're sitting here having this conversation, is you are one of the unique businesses that I found that actually specializes in taking those micro market, those mom and pop businesses that can't afford all the digital resources and assets and videographers and producers and cameras and all the stuff, podcasts, like they don't know how to do all that stuff. But yet, and if they want to own and dominate their market and to even be significant in the future and be relevant, they have to learn to do that. And you're one of the few businesses that I have found personally that so eloquently puts all that together for the little guy to saturate and dominate their local market, no matter what they do for a profession.
Well, there's so many places to start. And, you know, when we say micro market, it's not just about small business owners, you know, and when I say business, I mean, sometimes when I think about small business, we may think about multiple people within that business.
Yep.
But also when you were saying that, what come to my mind was, what about the plumber? What about the realtor? What about the loan officer? What about the financial advisor? You know, the pressures and the demands to be omnipresent and to really show up in your market today are extraordinary. If you think about it, the pressures of an individual today from a sales perspective are, hey, guess what? You know, we did X amount of sales last year. In order to continue growing on that trajectory, I've got to come up with new innovative ways to keep on showing up. Now, that's a mission by itself, let alone how am I going to be a writer? How am I going to be a digital marketing specialist? How am I going to be a social media guru? How am I going to learn all those skills? And then furthermore, even though I know I need to do all those things, and I should be doing those things, everything that I do, every time I go and, you know, get a graphic designer or a web designer, or I try and write some of this content, or I try and just show up myself on social, guess what? It's taking me away from doing what I should be doing, which is spending high frequency time in front of my clients, talking to my clients, building that rapport. And so it's really overwhelming. And what we saw is an area in the market where we're really good at what we do. Okay, we're really good at creating content and all the visuals, all the kind of cotton candy. We call it candy floss in England, but cotton candy, all the fluffy nice stuff. And we said, well, hang on a second. Why don't we just pull all those components in together so that loan officer, that financial advisor, that realtor didn't have to worry about doing that, and that really looked like a badass in their market. You know, there's a great book, Ray Oldenburg wrote it. It's called The Good Great Place. And what it is a concept where you have three places. You have home, you have work, and you have a third place. And I think that old model it was written way before the conception of social media. But social media is your third place. That is where you're going. Why is it? Because that's where everybody else is showing up. And I think sometimes when we talk about, these micro markets and the management and all these things, and we use all these terms, we just got to get real simple with everything and just say, look, we're a bunch of cavemen and women living in caves. How are we going to make something that we can go around to all the other caves and impress them without getting too complex in that? So I think it absolutely is a huge, huge opportunity for people to really understand how they could utilize not just my company, but somebody like us to actually alleviate them from having to do some of these things that they should be doing, but they're not going to be great at doing it.